Welcome to Skyline Mind, Body, and Health. Today's topic will be looking at the basic rehab for patellar tendonitis. Patellar tendonitis is definitely one of those chronic, annoying diagnoses you can get. It's very common in basketball players, track athletes, and then just the common individual that may suffer from knee pain. Patellar tendonitis is usually a pain that is found right here. So you have these nice big four muscles called the quadriceps muscle group. They all start up here and they all end and insert right down here on this tibial plateau. And so what ends up happening sometimes is it gets overused, it gets irritated, and it gets inflamed. So the best thing you can do for at-home treatments is ice. Ice for 15-20 minutes, no more than that, usually after practice or after a workout, and that will help usually alleviate that pain. But if ice doesn't help all the time, then you do have to do some knee strengthening techniques. And these are techniques that I use in my athletes here at work, and I use these on myself at home if I happen to be struggling with some knee pain on occasion. And this is stuff that you can do at home. You don't need a machine. You don't need to do ultrasounds or stim or anything like that. This is stuff that you can do at home by yourself. And I'm going to show you what those are. So for patellar tendonitis, we have pain in here. And sometimes it's caused by the patella not tracking properly along the groove that it sits in. So we have to strengthen up the quadriceps muscles, and because you have four. This inside one right here, let me see if I can flex, it's called the VMO, the vastus medialis muscle right in here. If that gets weak sometimes, it causes the patella to not track properly. So we call these quad sets. All we do is you pull your toes back towards your face, so you're going to dorsiflex your foot, engage your quad, and squeeze that muscle for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, you can relax. So what I like to do with my athletes, I either tell them to count 30 reps, squeeze and hold, do that 30 times, or I get a timer. Timer's the easiest. Usually you just set a timer for 2 minutes, and then you can work up to 3 minutes depending on how much time you have. And all you're doing is engaging all these muscles. So you can see my VMO, my vastus lateralis, my rectus femoris, and I have a fourth muscle underneath this called the vastus intermedius. And we're just going to engage that. I tell my athletes, on average, try to do 500 of these a day. If you're at home sitting on the floor doing homework or watching TV, it's not that hard. Your legs straight and you're engaging those muscles. The more you do, it's not going to harm you. It's actually going to help decrease that knee pain and help get rid of the patellar tendonitis. The next thing you can do if you're at home is I have 2 towels right in here. All I'm going to do is double them up and make a bolster. I'm going to place that under my knee. Same concept here. You get a timer for 2 or 3 minutes, or you can count if you want to focus on counting numbers. Same thing, pull your toes back, dorsiflexion, and lift your heel up off the table. Engage the quads, hold for 5 seconds, and then release. So while you're also at home, you can do this. Just find a nice comfy spot on the floor and get your 2 towels and make a bolster. So pretty simple. These are the very 2 basic exercises you can do at home. The next thing you can do if you're sitting in a chair, these are called short arc quad sets. The next one, they're called long arc quad sets. Basically all that means is, as before, we're going to contract this quadriceps muscle. Make sure your toes are on dorsiflexion or they're pulled back towards your face. You're holding for 5 seconds. And after 5 seconds, you will release. And I'll do that again. Hold for 5. And release. So you can still use the timer for 2 or 3 minutes, or you can count these out 30 reps, and then as you get stronger, we can modify this if needed. So those are the 3 basic exercises you can do at home. 1, your quad sets with your legs straight. 2, your short arc quad sets with the slight arc in your knee when you extend it, and then your long arc quad sets. Now as you get stronger, you do want to add some more exercises to continue strengthening the quadriceps muscle. We can do that by one of several ways. Reach over here. You can start adding in an ankle weight. Ankle weights are good for your short arc quad sets and your long arc quad sets. It's going to engage your muscles a little more just because it's going to have more resistance. The other thing you can do is 1 or 2 more exercises that I recommend for my athletes. These are called heel touches. So I'm going to just line them on right now. I'm going to line my toe up. It's nice and straight. When I bend and start to flex my knee and come down, I want my toes in alignment with my knees, or rather my knee needs to be in alignment with my toes. So let me change views real quickly here. So I want my hips nice and even, tapping that heel on the ground, and my knee should be in straight alignment with my toes. Now if you're weak and your quads are weak, you may drop that hip, and that's how we know that we need to modify and correct what you're doing. So we don't want to drop that hip. We want to keep them even. And the other thing that may happen if you have weak quad muscles is your knee may come in. So you can tell that my knee is deviating off that straight line. And that's also going to contribute to patellar tendonitis, is that you have bad mechanics. So we want to make sure that your body mechanics are good, that your hip stays straight, they're even, knee over that toe, and you're tapping that heel on the ground. So we'll do about 30 sets of that. It's going to be challenging. It's focusing on your balance and proprioception at the same time as strengthening those quad muscles. The other thing you can do, it's called mini squats. So we all know a squat. Squat, you come down at least parallel and you're back up. Same concepts, try to keep your knees over your heels. Don't let your knees go past your toes. Sometimes what also contributes to patellar tendonitis is when we do squats, a lot of times we want to come up on our toes. That puts a lot of tension on that tendon, and it's going to contribute to knee pain. Don't do this. Make sure you're on your heel, but back. So the mini squats that we do with patellar tendonitis, it's a half squat. So you only go maybe about 45 degrees low and back up. This is determined based on how much pain you have in your knee at the time. So if your knee only allows you to go that low, that's quite all right. At least you're getting a bend, knee flexion, hip flexion, and back up. But you want to imagine there's a chair behind you, and you want to get your butt in that chair behind you. All your weight is on your heels and not on your toes. Last but not least, we always want to stretch. So we're strengthening the front side because these are weak, and we're going to stretch the back side because a lot of times these get tight because they're overcompensating. So we're going to stretch the calves. And I usually hold my stretches for about 30 seconds. I'm going to drop my heels towards the ground. Hold for 30. I'm going to do 3 reps of that. After 3 reps of doing that, I'm going to put a slight bend in my knees. And I'm going to stretch the soleus muscle, which is a deep calf muscle. Hold that for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, I'm going to do that again. Do 3 reps. Now, if you're at home, you may not have this cool gadget that I'm on, this calf stretcher. So all you do is you find a wall or a sturdy surface, put your heel on the ground, toes against it, and you lean forward. And as you lean forward, you're going to feel that nice good stretch in your calves and behind your knee. Same thing, hold for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you'll do that same stretch again. Do that 3 times. After 3 reps of stretching, go ahead and bend that knee and then lean forward and stretch the soleus muscle. And then that concludes the knee rehab that I have my athletes do, and then they get ready to go to practice or they're ready to start the rest of their day.